Hi, it's Sam from Made by Erland. As always, whenever I go live, we know it's going to take me a couple of seconds because I never know if technology is working for me. um, According to everything that is showing on my system, you guys should be hearing me and seeing me. Um, I'm also trying to access YouTube, and at the moment, nothing is happening on YouTube that I can see. So I am also very like, is this happening? It does say I'm doing a live, so I'm hoping. Oh, yes, I can hear myself talk. I am live. Okay. So, obviously I'm just going live now, so we're super early on. I don't know if there is anyone on right now or if it's just me. So if you are here, come on and say hi. I did say 10 o'clock. It's just hit 10 o'clock. I was supposed to let a couple of you guys know with 10-minute warnings, and truth be told, trying to sort out my microphone again killed me. Oh, hello, I do have someone here. Hi. So I wanted to come on today and talk about Sydney Supanova. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Sam from Made by Erland. I am Australia-based. I live near Sydney. I'm on the Central Coast. For those of you who know, it's an hour and a half drive from Sydney. So Sydney Supanova is the big event that I do. I say once a year. I only started last year, so it's not like it's, a huge thing, but it's the biggest event I'd have on my selling calendar. I wanted to come on and talk about it because we see over and over again on the bag groups, a lot of people asking about how we display, how we price, how we market, how did we do? And I feel like a lot of businesses, and I get it, like small business, sometimes we feel like we need to protect ourselves, we need to protect our business and protect ourselves from competition. But I also feel like with small businesses, oh, hi, Nicole. With small businesses, we need to stick out and help each other, especially bag making. We're such a small community. Like, let's help each other out. And like, yes, there are some people that will be competition and will always be competition. But I also think if we all work together, there's more than enough market space for all of us to fit in. So why not share our knowledge, share our wins, and share our failures? So to give you guys some insight about Sydney Supanova. So we've got Austin, Texas has joined us. Hello. So sorry, I'm laughing because I was watching Ginny and Georgia last night. So like just seeing Texas, I'm like, Georgia's voice is playing in my head. Yeah, so Sydney Supernova, I compare it to San Diego Comic-Con. It's not San Diego Comic-Con. Let me make that clear. So San Diego Comic-Con, as anyone who does any convention knows, is the biggest nerdtastic, event in the world, I want to say. Supernova is Australia's version of it. So like everything that America does, Australia does it slightly smaller. We're never quite as big, but that's our closest equivalent. I don't know if I'm allowed to give out store fees, but if the organizers are watching and I'm not supposed to, you should have told me. You didn't tell me. So store fees were 1,800 Australian dollars for the weekend, so for Saturday and Sunday. So that's probably about, and I'm off the cuff of my head, that's probably 1,300 US at the moment. So it's a big outlay, like it's a lot of money. This is the first year that I went in as an exhibitor. Last year I went in as Artist Alley. The rest of us do it smaller. We do it smaller. We can never quite hit America when it comes to how big everything is. It's quite amazing. Oh, why am I dinging? I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm like, my phone is dinging. Oh, I've actually got someone asking me, how do I go onto your YouTube channel this morning? So let me quickly put that on. There we go. Not trying to be rude, but I'm going to turn me on silent now, so that's not going to happen again. Yeah, so Supernova. So it's about 1,300 US, so 1,800 Australian, 1,800, I should say. I know some people don't like it when we say 1,800. So it's a lot of money. I normally do Artist Alley. This is my first year venturing into an exhibitionist. And one of the hardest things I find with these big events is when you look in a lot of the bag groups, a lot of the social media groups, when we talk about what is a successful market. And this is the same when people talk about bag pricing, right? Cost times three. And with successful markets, people talked about cost times three. So whatever the store cost, you want to make times three. Spoiler alert, I made times three. We're good. We're good. But hi. But yeah, so we did make times three. But the thing is, and this is something that has played in my mind, I'm not going to lie, I've been very in my mind and in my head the last 6 months, I want to say. The economy, and this is worldwide, this isn't just Australia, the economy has tanked in the last 6 months. We all know this. Everything has gone kind of downhill. So I've been really in my mind the last 6 months or so, since about Christmas. So yeah, because truth be told, online, I'm doing really well. So my custom makes, I'm still bringing in my customers. I've got my loyal customers. They will always be there. I'm super lucky and super grateful for that. But when it comes to in-person markets, because everyone's feeling the economic pinch, right? So most of my in-person markets have been horrendous. Lead up to Christmas, and this took me a long time to get over. So this is something that was in my head for a really long time. Lead up to Christmas, I did 2 weeks or 10 days at the biggest shopping center we have. Well, it's the biggest single level shopping center in the Southern Hemisphere. So it is a big shopping center, but it's the biggest one near me. And they have hundreds, if not thousands of people that walk through their door every day, especially during Christmas time. Christmas time, every single car park is full. You will not find a car park there if you arrive before 9 or after 9 a.m. So I thought, I can't lose with this, right? So I booked a store. My best day, and this is at a huge, huge shopping center, my best day. Oh, sorry, Nicole, there's commercial breaks happening. I don't know how to turn it off. YouTube does this weird thing. So if you guys are on commercial breaks, I am sorry. But hopefully they will leave you here and get you back onto where you started. But so my best day at the super shopping center, the biggest one that we have on the Southern Hemisphere, single level, I think I did $280 was my best day, okay? My worst day, I did $110. Bearing in mind, store fee, which for a shopping center isn't bad, store fee was $85 a day. Okay, $85 a day. And that's with me sharing the store. So I shared the store with 4 other people, 4 other small businesses. That's how we got it down so cheap. $85 a day. My worst day, I made $115. Truth be told, I think the other store holders felt sorry for me and bought stuff from me because they knew how bad I did. This is for setting up from 6 in the morning, and the shopping center is open till 9 o'clock at night. So I didn't get home till 10 o'clock at night. So from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m., I was at the shopping center and I made zero. So, well, not zero. I made, $30? I can't do the maths right now. But so I've been on a very negative headspace. I'm very aware of how bad the economy is because I have felt it. So coming into Supernova, I was super scared because, like I said before, if you just joined and you haven't heard already, the store fee was $1,800. Okay, $1,800. I've done markets where I didn't make $120. So $1,800 store fee. Let that sink in. Okay. So I've been overthinking, I've been deciding, and I made a few choices, I think, that made my store stand out. And I also made some mistakes. So I do want to talk about that. One of the big things that I did this year that was different to my previous years is, of course, going in as an exhibitor instead of artist alley. One of the worries I had with that is by going in as an exhibitor, I am competing. My bags, these are some of my bags, are pop culture related. I do a lot of pop culture. Okay. So I am competing directly with Loungefly. I am competing directly with Disney. I am competing directly with the big names and the big brands. And, unless it's a very special Loungefly, I can't compete with them on prices. Their prices are cheaper than my prices. It is what it is. If I have to make a little backpack, I can't charge Loungefly prices. The difference, though, between me and Loungefly is I am small scale, I am made for myself, and every detail is poured into it. So that's something that I needed to try and push across to the end consumer in the 2 minutes that they're with me, right? Because let's be honest, like these conventions, people love it. They come and they spend lots of time, they spend lots of money, but they might only see your store for 30 seconds. You have the amount of time that they walk past to capture them. And I think as an artist, as someone who loves your own work, it took me a while to fully comprehend that. So there was a lot of changes that I made this time around compared to normal. So if anyone has questions, jump in at any time and ask. I'm seeing all your comments here, so I will see them and I am happy to answer them. I'm kind of jambling because I don't know where to start from. But so let's start from display. I think that's a super big one. So one of the big things with Sydney Supanova as an exhibitor that they promise you, if you are oh, yay! I don't know if I have a direct line to Jesus. I would love it if Jesus did lead you to me. So thank you. But so one of the big things for the display is that Supernova does is they guarantee if you are a single space store holder, you will get 2 aisle accesses. One of the big questions that I had for a long time, and someone asked me this on maybe creative bag making yesterday, was about the store setup. One of the biggest questions I had for so long is, do we allow people into the store? So I know so most of us think about our setups as outdoor setups, I guess, like this is indoor, but it's kind of that similar kind of space. So we go to 3x3 space, which is about 9-10 feet by 9-10 feet. So it's like your normal gazebo tent if you're in Australia. I assume the US, you have very similar size gazebo tents. So I had a gazebo tent set up on my driveway for a week leading up to Supernova, and I kept moving furniture around to try and find what would work best. Because I spoke to a bunch of exhibitors beforehand. I was lucky. I did Central Coast Comic Con a month before, which is tiny little local Comic Con festival. And I was lucky enough that one of the exhibitors, she travels around Australia and exhibits around Australia. She was kind enough to come talk to me. And I was asking about, like, how do we set up? Like, I'm confused about letting people in, not letting people in. And up until a week before Supernova, I was not letting people into the store. The store was going to be blocked out, so you can't come into my space. I'm behind the tables. You guys are just on the outside. We changed our mind on that, because I think when you're blocked on the inside, my sister is not a trustworthy person. Well, she's not trustworthy. She's not trusting, I should say. She's not trusting. And my partner, Charlie, he's the same. Both of them don't trust humans. I'm a very trusting person. And so they're like, if you are locked behind the tables, if someone steals something, you don't even have a chance to chase them down. Like, you have to climb under the table, they're gone. So we talked about an inside outside. And the more we talked about inside outside, the better it worked for me. So the other exhibitor, the reason why she said, don't let people in the store, keep it outside only, is for those smaller spaces. 10 by 10. There we go. For those smaller spaces, it's easy to feel overwhelmed on these kind of exhibitions because there's a lot of people. So if you had your own little hidey hole, and someone said this on creative bag making as well, like, where do you sit? If you allow people to come in, are you in the way all the time? So that's something that we really worried about and tried to think about. Let me see if I can get my screen on here to share my screen. So this is going to look weird for a second as I show my entire screen, and then you guys are going to see, I guess, the system that I'm seeing. So here we go. So that's my screen. So this was the setup. So this is I guess one of the sides. So the side that you're looking at right now is the side that faced the section where stars would come and do autographs and photos. So this was the section where I thought I would have the most lingering people. Okay. So this is not the side that people would walk past and keep going. This is the side that people would linger. It might not be the first spot that they see, but they would linger. So on this side, I had a table set up. These are my petite pouches down the bottom. I'm hoping you guys can see my mouse move. So my petite pouches, I call them my everything pouch. They're my best sellers at markets because they are cheap. They're the cheapest item. Well, they used to be the cheapest item I had for sale, but they are $10 each. They're just a tiny little pouch. They're about 4 inches by 4 inches, and I have a billion designs in them, which is a problem. This is a problem that I see a lot of us make, I think, is because we know we can do things one of a kind, we overwhelm, we put too much out. And that's what I do with my petite pouches. So my petite pouches for this event, I think I had 450 of them made. Of the 450, I probably had 200 and something designs. Okay. So if someone would come and talk to you and say, oh, yeah, I'm really looking for something floral, then I can pull out the florals. But let's be fair, most people do not talk. They look. If something doesn't catch their eyes, they walk away. Okay. So normally I have it on top of that pink rug, how they just displayed on the rug like that. Normally I just have them like that, and you can dig through and make a mess, whatever. At these big conventions, that doesn't work. In the little markets, it does because people are happy to spend a couple of hours. There's only 20 stores. They're like, oh, yeah, I've got time to peruse. At these big exhibitions, people have a minute at your store, maybe longer, maybe less. So you need to capture their attention. And one thing my sister and I figured out is we could put magnets inside some of them and put them up against. We had a little magnetized, like those little cubie holes that people do. Like you can get them on Amazon. I'll put the link up later on. I'm not affiliated with Amazon. I think I was, and I to be honest, it's too much effort, so I've not bothered with it anymore. But you can put them on with a magnet, and I just stuck them onto the side so people walking past could see straight away. And I would choose a bunch of different designs. So like I probably had 20 stitch designs. I would put one stitch design up. And if someone looked at the stitch one, I would then say, by the way, I also have these ones if they weren't digging through. And so that people could then pick and choose and see what they wanted. Okay. Now this little gap here is the walking in gap. So you can walk in through this side. There was also another walking in gap on the other side. And then I tried to put as much high up and on the wall without blocking other things. Okay. Now, where's the other photo? I'm not very good at screen sharing. Okay. So this is the other view. So that's the table there that we saw before. And then this is the other entryway. So again, you see here, I've got everything just hung up there. Okay. So what I've tried to do, and I think this is what worked really well for me. Oh, I've got the wrong thing up. Sorry, you guys. I'm trying to get me back onto the system so I can come back here and stop screen sharing so we can look at me again. It's very part we come up exact issues. Yes. And so I found, because of the economy, I blame a lot of this on the economy, and I think maybe it's a year out, maybe it's always been like this, but people don't have money. And one of the things that I know I've failed at in the past is I've made a really pretty bag. I'm really proud of it. This little bag here, this one's the Verdon from Lavender and Twine. I love it. She's a beautiful bag, right? I've made one of the versions of this that I made won the Sydney Royal Easter Show, which is arguably the biggest art show you can win in Australia. So by winning that, I've been claiming I'm bag maker of the year in Australia. Not true. There's plenty of better bag makers than me in Australia. Let's be fair. But it's a little hype that I've been able to claim. I love that bag. I think it looks beautiful. It draws attention, and it does. But because I think it draws attention and it's beautiful, I've been putting it near the front of the store. People will walk by, they come up, they look at the price tag. That's the second most expensive bag I sell in my store. That is Let me double check my price tag on it. $320. This is a $320 bag. So people see it, they get attracted to it, they come up, they pick it up, $320. They freak out, they don't look at anything else, because most of the people that come have, my partner likes to call it, what's the word he uses? It's not incidental, but it's like spending that you don't have to think about, that you don't feel guilty about. $320 you need to think about. I mean, most of us need to. If you're a millionaire, you probably don't, but most of us have to think about. So what I've done this time, which I think made me a lot more successful this market or this con compared to all my other markets leading up, was I had all my cheap items on the outside. So if you look on the outside of my store, if you walk around the outside of my store, nothing was over $50. Okay. So don't know how much you remember those photos, but the key rings. So I had key rings on either side of my store, because I knew my key rings were popular. I knew they were popular because at Central Coast Comic Con, they were really popular. So it hurts my heart a little bit. I am a bag maker. I want people to love my bags. I want people to buy my bags. But I also need to make money. And yes, homemade is not cheap. Homemade is not cheap. And people are not understanding this. And, the amount of times I thought, I'm going to release like a little TikTok video about how, you want to pay $50 for a bag, but you want your boss to pay you $30 an hour, but you won't pay me $30 an hour. But then I'm like, might be a bit too iffy. But it feels like that, right? Like, bag making is my full-time job. This is my career. It's not just a hobby for me. Like, yes, it is a hobby. It helps my mental health, but bag making is my job. Like, you guys go to not you guys as in you guys watching, but the consumers, they go to a 9 to 5 job and they get paid $25, $30 an hour, whatever it is they get paid, but they don't want to pay me that. But we're also condemning, overseas child labor, which 100% we should condemn, but you won't pay someone who works honestly an honest, livable wage. It's annoying. Going down a rabbit hole. That's not what we're going down, is it? So, So what I found really works is having the cheaper items on the outside. So what that's done is that everything is under 50, I think. So I had my key rings. They are, oh, hi, Mona. There we go. Sorry. I was like, I didn't know how to say your name. I was like, I can't just say rip it and so on. But, so everything outside. So my petite pouches is my cheapest thing that's out there. It's $10 each. My key rings are the next. They're $15 each. After the key rings, I then had dice tray. So I don't normally do dice tray, and this is something I wanted to talk about with conventions. So the only reason I did dice tray is one of the big celebrity guests that were there is the whole original cast of Critical Role. So a lot of us probably don't know who they are. So Critical Role is a huge D&D podcast team of, I don't know if they're actors or podcasters, but they're huge. And so they bring in a lot of people that play D&D, and it's I think it might even be the first time ever, I don't know, that the whole team is coming to Australia. So they were huge. The whole 2 days, their lines never went down. It was constantly full. So I had dice trays, and I had dice trays in various sizes, all of them under $50. What else did I have at the front? Oh, I had little crossbody bags, which were the Wanderlusts, I think, by Sowing Seeds of Love. I think it's what it is. I don't want to upset anyone, but I've never had any luck selling them. Truth be told, I made 20 of them for Supernova last year, and leading up to Supernova this year, I had 19 still in stock. So they have not been a seller for me. But this Supernova, I sold them. So, and I think it's because I had them on the outside, very clearly labeled that they are $50. And so I think that's kind of, because it's the lowest price bag I've got, like bag. So I think that's kind of what dragged people into it. I I think those were the main things I had out there. Yep, key rings, petite pouches, and the $50 little crossbody bags. Um, and then, oh, my D&D fabric. Um, so my D&D was all of my D&D stuff was from Inklings and the Kraken. So they are Australia based, but they do ship worldwide. They're doing another pre-order round soon. But Jodie is amazing. She's one of the few, not I shouldn't say few. We have lots of really great fabric companies here in Australia, but she's one of the few true geekdom fabric creators in Australia. So she actually, fun fact, she owns a toy shop in Australia. So let's talk. Oh, let's go straight into copyright. Okay, come on, Mona, you're hurting me. Copyright. Copyright is a fun thing. That was one of my big worries going into Exhibition Hall compared to being in Artist Alley. So in some ways in Artist Alley, you are... Let me say this by prefixing this. Everything I say is not legal advice. It is not financial advice, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Don't listen to what I say. I am just a stay-at-home mum who makes bags. I have... okay. Oh, yeah, the name. Sorry. It's Inkling and the Kraken. So INKLING and Kraken, KRAKEN. So all the disclaimers out there. I am not a lawyer. I am not a business planner. I am not blah, blah, blah. If we use symbols, logos. So what I have been told, and I don't know if this is Australia based or if it is convention based. Okay. So I am very clear. Actually, I should say this. That's one mistake I made this. So one thing that I thought was really smart this market was, so my company name is Made by Ireland. You know, it's not clear as to what I do. It's Made by Ireland. So on my signage, because booking this spot comes with signage, I put handmade bags, right? Make it super clear. That is something I went wrong. I shouldn't have done handmade bags. Next time round, I'm doing artisan crafted bags. Okay. This is important. And this is important when we talk about copyright. Okay. Because when we do these kind of cons and these kind of things, or at least the cons that we have in Australia, I don't know if it's the same in the US. I don't know. Okay. What I have been told for cons in Australia and these things in Australia is, if you are an artist, if you are doing this as a craft, it is okay because it's your interpretation. So I never name the characters. I never name the characters. It's not because I'm trying to hide or anything, but it's because they are not my names to name, right? So like, I will never put on this bag, if anyone knows who the characters are, like I'll never put the show name or anything on it. But I love that show and I will watch it to death. But and it's the same with Disney. So Supernova, they have a clause. They have a very big clause in their exhibitor contract that says no bootleg and no infringing on copyright. So obviously, as someone who does a lot of pop culture bags, I was like, can I even be there? And so I talked to them and I messaged them a lot. And they said, look, if you are an artist and you are doing less than 100 items, then it doesn't count. You are fine. I saw people in the exhibition hall selling soft toys that they didn't make themselves. I know it. It looks like something straight off Temu. Obviously isn't the official licensed, and they were selling it. So I take what the exhibitors say with a grain of salt. And to be honest, I am just making what I can make and hope that I am fine. So really, talking about copyright is, let's not talk about it. I'm literally just going by what I can know and understand best. I am slowly starting to, I guess, cross over and do more stuff. The two most expensive bags that I sold during this weekend, neither were licensed or character-based bags at all. Kind of, but not really. So one of them was a bag that had thistles all over it. Granted, I made it inspired by Outlander. So Sam Heughan was one of the if anyone doesn't know Sam Heughan is Jamie Fraser from Outlander. So the actor who plays Jamie Fraser from Outlander, he was there and I knew he would draw a huge crowd. So one of the bags I did was a thistle bag inspired by Sam Heughan, but there was nothing on there that said Outlander. There was nothing, I didn't even have Sassenach on it. I had nothing on there that said Outlander. So I'm slowly trying to move towards that kind of style. Not because I'm worried about copyright. In all honesty, I'm not worried. I think at the end of the day, what I do is what I do. If I get a cease and desist, I will cease. I will stop. But as far as I'm aware, everything I'm doing, and I know there's a lot of fight on, on those or what is it called? Like on the social media and Facebook pages about it, about, just because this doesn't mean it's okay. But there's morning Jassy from Sophisticated Craft just joined in too. But she always comes in when I'm talking copyright. Like, is she so I think to me, and most of the fabrics I try to buy, I support. I know there's places that you can buy from China and whatnot. I tend to not buy fabric from that. Like I was saying to, was it Mike before that asked about it? The fabric, the D&D fabric, right? Like I buy those from Inklings and the Kraken. There's another fabric shop in Australia that I love, Fabric Wonderland. So I try to support other small businesses when it comes to buying my fabric. Yes, it means my stuff isn't the cheapest in the world. I probably could get cheaper fabric if I just bought direct from China. I don't, because I feel like I'm a small business. I should support other small businesses in a way, like, and maybe it's bad business, but that's how I feel. Oh, it's Jackie. Sorry. I thought that. I was like, I know that surname. So yeah. Sorry, back to the fabrics. So Inkling. So this is an Inkling print, for example. The D&D that Mike mentioned. Jackie mentioned before is as another Inkling print. She buys her artwork or her fabric art from artists who draw it. So like, yes, it's still inspired, and I know there's a lot of question marks about it, but like, to me, I feel like I'm not stealing someone's original idea and running with it. Like I am supporting other artists along the way to create my art. Does that make sense? Maybe legally it doesn't. That's why I like to rephrase. Again, I am not a legal person. Do not listen to a word I say. I am just a random person talking on the internet. Hopefully not too much junk that I'm talking about. But yeah, so that was my main thing. And before we got into copyright, we were talking about the display, about having the cheaper items on the outside. I get distracted very easily. I am sorry. And what I found that did this year is the people that then were like, okay, I'm happy with these prices, I might come in and look further, would then come in, and then by then they're semi-invested, and then they'll pick up the more expensive bags. Yes, they would still get put back down. This beautiful bag over here, if I got paid $1 every time someone picked her up, looked at her, I'd probably sell this bag 3 times over. Maybe not, but I feel like a lot of people picked it up over the 2 days. But yeah, and the small items is something I had to get over. I don't know how many of you guys are like this. But I never thought I was like this. I thought I was a shrewd business person, okay? But the more I bag make, and Jassy knows this from Sophisticated because I've been complaining to her about this. The more I've been doing markets and coming back saying I'm not happy, the more I've realized I am not a shrewd business person. I am actually an artist. And I say this and I'm laughing about it because growing up, so I studied economics and law in uni, okay? So that's why I was very quick with like, I have no disclaimer, blah, 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 because I did that. That was my life. I was a very black and white 9 till 5 person, right? Um, and what are we talking about? Why is Jassy and Darlene talking about orders going out? I still haven't put my order in. You guys are giving me FOMO. um, yeah, so I've always been a very black and white person. And it's only since I became a bag maker that I've realized I'm not a black and white logistical person. I am a very emotional, artistic person in my own way. And one of the things about the last few markets, which made me really down and worried about Supernova, was that I wasn't selling bags. So at the very start, if anyone was here and still remembers it, because I've gone on giant tangents since, I talked about, in groups, Facebook groups, people talk about 3 times store fee. That's what you want to make back, right? 3 times store fee. So, and I've done that. Every single market I have done. No, don't be sorry, darling. Every single market I've done my 3 times store fee. Okay. I've been very lucky in that. And then I'd come home and people would ask, were you happy with what you did? And I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be ungrateful, because I know money is tough and everywhere. And I've made my 3 times store fee, but I've not been happy. And it took me a while to realize the reason I've not been happy is because I am not selling bags. Okay. Which is one thing that makes me think I am better off as a custom bag maker and not doing markets. But the markets bring in the money, which allows me to shop for fabric, which then allows me to become a custom bag maker. So, it's a two-edged sword. So when I say that, what I'm saying is, let's go back. Let's not talk about that Christmas market again, because even thinking about it hurts my head. So I did a Mother's Day store. The day before Mother's Day, I did a Mother's Day store because that's the last one back. Is Australian Mother's Day the same as the rest of the world? Yes, we are. It's Father's Day that we're different. Australia Day. So just to give you guys a timeline, everyone knows that timeline. I did a store. It was a one day event, and the store fee was, I want to say $50. I made my $150. $100 for 8 hours, set up, set down. It's horrible. That's horrible money. Let's be fair. Like, this store fee times 3, it's a horrible way of measurement. Like, that's not fair. Like, that's what, 8 hours, $100 is $12 an hour, maybe less. Like, that's not good money. Like, I would make I know some of you guys in the US, and I know like waitresses and all that in the US, some of you are only earning $2-3 an hour, whatever. But minimum wage in Australia is $28 an hour. I stood at a shopping center pretending the stock cost nothing for $12 an hour. Like, that is horrible. So 3 times store fee, whoever came up with that, no, go away. The good thing about the Mother's Day store, I made horrible money. I still really enjoyed it, only because I was stuck. Stuck isn't the right word, but I was in a store with a bunch of small businesses, really similar-minded small business. Most of them also had young kids. Most of them are handmade businesses, not bags. Like, I had a lady that does earrings. There's another lady who does freeze-dried lollies. Who's had freeze-dried lollies? They're great. Sorry. And another lady who does crochet, another lady who does kind of like mental awareness stuff. So she does like spinny rings that helps with anxiety, and like bottles with like quotes on it and stuff. Like, it's beautiful. But anyway, so it was a fun day out. It wasn't a good business day. It was a fun day out. The event after that I did was Central Coast Comic Con. So this was a big lead up again. That was $220 store fee, and I made $660. So I literally did 3 times store fee. So again, and this is why I say 3 times store fee isn't fair, right? Maybe, I don't know if other places the store fees are more equal across the board, but obviously, like you've just heard me say, Supernova, $1,800, $1,800. Okay. It's a 2-day event, so that's $900 a day. Okay, so $900. Mother's Day event, $50. Central Coast Comic Con, $220. So the store fees are vastly different, but the amount of hours I'm standing there is the same. So technically, after store fee, Central Coast Comic Con is $440 came in, right? So $440, 10 hours standing around, it's $44 an hour. It's not too bad. Technically, it's more than 10 hours, but let's just say 10 hours to make me feel better about myself. But I was still really sad about it. And then I clicked and I realized it's because I sold one bag. I sold one bag at Central Coast Comic Con. I didn't sell one bag for $660. That would be insane. But I sold one $66 bag. And then everything else was my little petite pouches and my key rings. That is depressing as a bag maker, right? Like, it is sad. Granted, since I've had people reach out and ask for custom makes, so the money is still coming in, but it's a hard pill to swallow. And I think this 3 times store fee doesn't help that hard pill to swallow. Because it's not realistic. It's not. Like, how is it that if this store cost me $10, I should be happy if I make 30? But this store cost me 1,000, so I can't be happy unless I make 3,000. Like that, the maths isn't computing, right? Like, it's not. It doesn't make sense. It should be this is how much I want to earn per hour. And that's kind of like, if anyone's seen the Sophisticated Craft bag cost calculator, what they talk about. Like, we shouldn't be doing cost times 3. And I'm saying the same thing about market stores. We shouldn't be doing store fee times 3. It's an easy way to work out a figure that you can be like, oh, yeah, I'm happy with that. So how did I work out what I was happy with for Supernova? Not proud of this. Because my sister is a numbers girl. She is. My sister, she helps me at my stores. She asked me beforehand, what number do we need to hit for you to be happy? And I said 6,000. She's like, why 6,000? And I'm like, because that's how much credit card debt I'm in right now. So why are you guys watching me for business advice? Don't watch me for business advice. Boothie's vet travel. I major anxiety about being able to. Yes. And I fully get you on that, because that's where I was at with Supernova. I was petrified. I was petrified for months that I wouldn't cover store fee. And display. I think the display I did this year made a huge line of difference. And I'm not trying to talk down other people's displays or anything, because obviously, like we see on Facebook, heaps of people have displays. And some people might hate my display. I think the smartest thing I did was acknowledge that people don't have money. So like I said before, have your cheapest items surrounding the outside to draw people in. And if it doesn't draw people in, it might let them buy something on the outside. Okay. My cheaper items is also a very new-ish thing, because to me, I think my bags aren't expensive. Like, for example, someone asked me before, I don't know if you're here, I do the H2O modified bags for $66. That's Australian, not US. Okay. Country Road, I don't know if that's a worldwide brand or just an Australian brand. Country Road has a hydration bag for $90. Okay. Kmart, which is, I guess, our version of Walmart, they have one for $10. Okay. So I'm not competing with $10 bags. I'm not competing with the $90 bags. I am somewhere in between. My big thing is then making sure that it is known that mine is better quality. I use only waterproof materials. I use only the best hardware I can find. It is handmade by a local person. It is like, I take all the time that I can to do it. I'm going back to doing craft fairs this coming season. I'm not selling much at all. Yes, craft fairs are hard. Craft fairs are really hard. And I feel like I'm saying the same line over and over again. Cheap things. We need to, as bag makers, find a way to offer cheaper items, because a lot of people will come by, and I know there's a lot of people come by and they love our bags. They're like, oh, I love this. I love this. I don't have $200. But they want to support you. I know this because I am one of those people. I am a sucker for a personal connection, right? So at Supernova, I bought I bought 2 books. That's all I bought. I tried to hide and not buy stuff because I am a shopper, okay? I bought 2 books. The first book, I bought because the lady bought one of my handbags, and then I walked past and I saw her doing a book signing. I'm like, "Oh my god, you're an author." I bought her book. I bought her book as a reciprocal. You bought my book. You bought my bag. I'll buy your book. I'm gonna support your craft. I'm gonna read that book today. It looks interesting, so fingers crossed for me. The second book I bought because I was walking down the aisles. I wasn't looking at buying any more books, and the guy said, "You're carrying a book. That makes you my target market." And I stopped and we chatted. And then the person who illustrated the front cover was also there. And she was telling me about how she came to this decision and the color choices and everything. And I got suckered in. So there I am buying it. If I hadn't made money at Supernova, I wouldn't have been able to afford to buy them. They're $35 a book. But, and this is something that I do, whenever I do stores, I buy something from whoever I share a store with. I've got this scrunchie in my head. I bought it because at one of the harvest festivals, there was a young girl, JJ. She's probably 13, 14, just learning how to sew, and she sells scrunchies. I can make my own scrunchie. I bought one from her because I wanted to support her. They're $7. Here's, like it's money that you don't think about. And I think there's a lot more consumers like me than people realize, is that they will see something, they like the person. I can't afford to buy your expensive bag, but I can afford to buy something cheap from you. So have some cheap things. One thing I didn't talk about in my photos. I wonder if I don't think we can see it in the photos. One thing I started doing, dumbest thing I've done, but it's kind of worked, right? Is cable keepers. I've started doing cable keepers. I started doing them originally with off-cuts of vinyl, about 4 inches long, and then I just punch a hole on either side, clip it together, and I sell them for $4. So it's money that you don't think about. It's not even a $5 note. Here you go, take your money, go away. Not like that. No, that sounded horrible. But yeah, it's throwaway money, right? And so I made a bunch of those to do that at Supernova, and I offered a deal. One of the deals I did at Supernova, which I thought was genius. It was not genius. No one took me up on it. One person took me up on it, but she didn't mean to. Buy 5 items and get a 10% discount. So I've previously done 5% off store-wide as a Supernova deal. I've done buy 3 items, unlock 5%, buy 7 items, unlock blah, blah, blah percent. Like I've tried all different things, right? Because you want to encourage people to spend. So I did this, buy 5 items, unlock 10%. And that's a great deal if you were buying 5 cable keepers, because the cable keepers were $4 each, 3 for $10. So realistically, you could buy 4 cable keepers for $14. And then you could then have your 5th item as my Vadon over there for $320, and you'd save 10%. That's $32 off that for getting $14 worth of cable keepers, right? And I thought that would help encourage my bigger sales. It didn't. But what did help was those little $4 little cable keepers, especially on day 2. Day 2 on these big cons, I don't know if this is the same everywhere. Day 2 is horrible. A lot of people come on day 1 and day 2. So by the time they reach day 2, they are poor. They have no money left. But on day 2, I sold a lot of cable keepers because people just wanted to support you. So I think that's one of the things I had to get over myself, that I am this amazing bag maker and I need to, do cheaper stuff and have other options available because people don't have the money to spend. And that's what I did. Day 1, I did amazing. My first bag that I sold was sold literally 2 minutes after the doors opened. Doors were supposed to open at 10. They opened early. So this lady stormed down, like before I even set up my FPOS machine, she stormed down and she bought my Pandora Charisma. So that was my first sale of the day, $280. Bam, here you go. Thank you. Bye. She then she showed my bag to someone else. And my last sale of the day on day one was a $320 bag, the other version of that for Don over there. So she was kind of my start and end. So because of that one lady, I made $500. And that one lady, actually, this is something I need to talk about. Let me get comfy and talk about it. So, no, sorry. So this lady that bought the $280 bag and then introduced someone to come back and buy a $320 bag. She is a follower of mine on Facebook. Okay. Don't look at my business socials at the moment. I've been so slack. Mentally, I've not been there, so I've not been able to keep up. But I'm a very honest social person. My whole brand, my whole business, I've built it on being transparent. I've built it on being personable. So I don't mince my words. You see beautiful photos of bags. That I will not skimp on. I will always get beautiful photos of my bags. That's important because that's what I'm selling. But I don't mince my person. I don't mince what I'm going through. I'm very clear and very honest about what I'm doing, to the point where I have customers that feel like family. Like I had a lady tell me the other day, I've never met her in person. I do not know this woman. Let's be blatantly clear. I do not know her. She's bought 4 sophisticated peonies from me. That's the extent of our relationship. Okay. But she told me that she was pregnant. I found out she was pregnant after her husband, after her own parents. Her friends don't know, people in her life don't know, but I know. Not because she's asking me to make a bag for her, but just she knew I went through pregnancy problems, so she shared with me. And so I've made friends that way. How I made steps to display their bags. Oh, yes, maybe I do understand. I will talk about it. Okay, cool. So, yeah, and so one of the things I did leading up to Supernova is I made it abundantly clear. I had a lot going on leading up to Supernova that meant I couldn't make as many bags as I wanted to. That obviously is a hindrance when you want to sell, $2,000 worth of store fees worth of bags. You want as many bags as possible. I've made it very clear leading up to the start of Supernova, I don't have a lot of stock. If you want to look at bags and if you want to have first choice, come to me first. I will store your bags all weekend if you want. Come see me first. Otherwise, your bag is gone. It's gone. That's it. I'm done. And this lady had messaged me a couple of times. She's like, oh, I will come see you. I'll come see you. I'll come see you. I invited another small business into my store. It's one of the things about being an exhibitor instead of Artist Alley is you can bring in other stuff. The exhibition doesn't stop you from having other people's stuff with you. So I bought in a lady's earrings. Okay. So these earrings, they don't distract from my brand, but I felt like they complemented. She had like really cute, like tiny teddy earrings, like Care Bear earrings, little cat earrings. And so I invited her to give me her stuff to have available for sale. I wasn't marking them up. I wasn't making anything from it. It was just like a nice small business add-on as a small business owner to another. Her earrings attracted that lady. So that lady messaged me before Supernova and said, oh, I was definitely going to come, but now I'm bringing my wallet because I love those earrings. So that's something to bear in mind is sometimes weird things is what makes people spend money. And I think that's what made her spend money was realizing, and we got talking, and she's an artsy person as well. She does a lot of crafting. And I think that's something that we don't realize as bag makers. And that's something that I think sometimes we get wrong as well when we focus too much on like the competition is people aren't really competition. Like they might not be competition. So just because I sew and you sew doesn't mean I won't buy something from you. Like there's a I actually don't know her full name. Jassy would know who I'm talking about if Jassy is still here. Andrea, she used to be a test maker for Jassy. If Andrea lived in Australia and I didn't have to pay like $500 for postage, I would buy every single one of her tester bags. Full stop, no questions asked. Anything she makes, I'm like, yep, that's mine now. Leanne, who is Australian, every single time she posts a tester make, again, obsessed. Love, love, love. So Just because I can make bag doesn't mean I won't buy your bags. But what it does mean is I appreciate how much time and effort and how much it costs to make, right? So sometimes your best customer is someone who does exactly what you do. Maybe not exactly what you do, but do you know what I mean? So that's why I don't feel like hiding stuff because like it's why hide? I also have oh sorry. Nicole's being hit with all the ads. Is anyone else getting ads or is it just poor Nicole? Let's see. Sorry, I've been too busy talking and I've missed some of the messages. Da, 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 da. This year's have been customs. Yes, so many customs. Most of if it wasn't for customs this year, I would have given up. Customs have been my best custom. And um for you, it's Folden's. For me, it's the Travelnizer. The Travelnizer is my biggest. I actually have two other people I need to get back to that want Travelnizers again. It's funny how we all have, and this is what I'm talking about. Like the world's so big. There's so many bag makers. Like we don't need to fight. We all have our own. We all have um, our own clients, our own markets. Like for me, it's the Travelnizer. It's always the Travelnizer. Um, and okay, everyone else is having ads. I'm going to just have a sip of coffee. Sorry, guys. I don't know what setting I pressed. I know YouTube was changing something over to allow more ads. Um, but I don't think I clicked anything. I hope I didn't. I didn't mean to force you guys to watch more ads. I'm sorry. Oh, my coffee's cold. If anyone saw that face. um, yes, premium account. That's the way to go. See, that's how they get you, right? Sorry, I'm digressing. But yes, we were talking about, sorry, I'm trying to pull up, there's a message there and I saw it and I've missed it already. Doing not the gift show. We are talking about, I wanted to know how you made steps to display your bags. How you made steps to display your bags. So I normally, and this is something I've done. So I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about, but so I originally did I used to always have my iPad. I used to always have my iPad on display and I would play my YouTube videos on link. For those of you who just decided to find me today, I do tutorials. I do bag making tutorials. Watch my tutorials, please. Subscribe, like, please follow. No, sorry. And I play those on repeat. If anyone is doing markets, you think that might be helpful, you are more than welcome to play my videos on repeat. Please do, because YouTube pays me every time you guys watch it. But more importantly, yeah, so I used to show that. I used to think that was important. People would stop and look at it. But for the bigger markets, it doesn't seem to do anything. I know people have talked about taking photos of this is me making the bag, this is me making the bag. And personally, I don't find that useful. I know for me, and I think this is something that we forget sometimes when we go into the business perspective, is we don't think about a consumer, right? So as a consumer, I don't, and this is going to sound horrible. This is going to sound absolutely horrible. I don't 100% care how the bag was made. I bought this coffee from my local coffee shop. I don't know where the coffee beans were from. I don't know who roasted them. I know who served it to me. And I love the person who served it to me. Okay. So the display matters, the customer service matters, but I don't think the making process matters as much as we like to think it does. I've seen people talk about like this cardigan I'm wearing. It's a beautiful cardigan. It's a local handmade lady. She does, on her price tag, she actually has the price and then underneath it, hours spent. Okay. I love that as an idea, but I love that as an idea as a crafter, right? As a consumer, I don't care. And I know that sounds horrible, But as a consumer, I don't care if it took you 10 hours to make, okay? And um, I think that's something to bear in mind. I think people want to know that it's handmade, but they might not necessarily care as much about how much process or how much time actually goes in. I explain it sometimes. So, like, I do have people ask me, why is it that, oh, don't have it here. I had two Pandora Cruise, actually, I had three Pandora Cruises, but one sold literally 2 minutes into the weekend. So I had two Pandora Charismas side by side. They didn't look identical because they're obviously two different bags, like fabrics, but they looked like they were the same. One was 280 and one was 180, I want to say. So it's $100 difference. And people would ask, why is it $100 difference? And it's because one Pandora Charisma was done exactly per the pattern. All the pockets, everything was exactly there. The other Pandora Charisma I did as a strike make, and so I only had one big compartment. So that means a whole lot less fabric and a whole lot less time. I took away a lot of pockets. And I say that to people. I say, like, if you love this bag, but you don't think you'll use all the pockets, message me and I can do you a custom. And it would be cheaper because I don't have to do as many pockets. But matters to us, but I think we try to make it matter to the consumer to justify the handcraft pliers. Exactly. It matters to us and we then try to justify it. And I think sometimes when we try to justify, we actually make it worse, or at least I do. I know I do. I am very guilty of this. My sister, which is one of the reasons she's there, to be honest, she is the person to pull me back. And the lady who bought my most expensive bag, she said this to me the other day: don't apologize for your prices. Because I do apologize for my prices. So when someone picks up my more expensive bags, that you can't tell first up why they're expensive. So for example, if any of you haven't seen the Pandora Allure, this isn't even the full Pandora Allure. This one's missing pockets still. But for anyone who hasn't seen a Pandora Allure and you just see that sitting on the shelf, you're like, oh yeah, it's a little rectangle bag, whatever. Why is this little rectangle bag $220? And you have another little rectangle bag, this is Catalina or whatever, is $90. Why? Because pockets. Because you haven't seen all the amounts of pockets. And then I'll go in and I'll explain it and then they'll understand it. But before I explain it, sometimes, and it depends on the person, I guess, it depends on me and the mood, is I kind of come in somewhat apologizing. Like I come in, I'm like, oh, yeah, I understand. Oh, well, not so. Like they'll ask the price of a more expensive bag, and I kind of come in, and I'm kind of like, "Oh, I'm sorry. This is one of my more expensive bags." Why do I say that? Why? Like if you walk into a shop and someone says, "Oh, this is one of my more expensive bags," I'd be like, "Do you think I can't afford this bag?" Like, I don't know. Like it's a horrible sales line. Like, why do I say it? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. And like, that's what the lady who bought the thistle bag said to me. She's like, no, be confident in your pricing. Just come out. It's $320. That's how much that bag is. And if someone says something, then explain why. Or if someone hesitates, then explain why. And I think I am very, very, very quick to go in apologizing for how expensive it is when I shouldn't be. And that's what, so I talked a little bit about the bag cost calculator before that Sophisticated Craft has. That's something that bag cost calculator has helped me with because it's made me kind of accept, like I'm not overpricing my bags. I know I'm not because I know exactly how much everything costs. I know how much time I put into it. I know how much my labor costs. And do you know what? I am a fast sewer, right? Like I am fast. So I shouldn't have to apologize for charging what I deserve. And truth be told, when I'm sitting here in my own head, because outwardly, I don't know if you guys can tell, I am a very people pleaser. I like to think that I am very sweet and kind, but in my head, I'm mean. I'm mean in my head, okay? And I'll sit there and I'll think, I'm charging you $220 for this bag here. Right? That is similar size. I don't know how many of you follow Hermes. Similar size to an Hermes Kelly 25. A Kelly 25 is $5,000 for a cheap one, 10,000, 15,000 for the more expensive ones. Why am I apologizing for a $220 bag when people are literally lining up and fighting over a $10,000 bag? If anything, my bag is more unique. If anything, my bag is more rare. There is one of me. I do not have a factory. I make it completely by myself. And I know me better than anyone else. I am a perfectionist. I have OCD. I'm sure I have OCD. Not in my mess. Don't look at my mess. But why do I feel like I have to apologize when I am charging for what is a fair price, you know? Just because they don't understand the work that went into it doesn't mean it's not fair. And I think that's something that I think because we try to justify our prices, that's why we start showing steps and we start showing videos and we start showing how we make it. I think being able to say that we hand make it, I think, and then explaining how it's not explaining how it's handmade, but explaining some of the processes, explaining some of the things and having the confidence. Like no one walks into Louis Vuitton and have a salesperson go, "Oh, I'm so sorry, this bag's $2,000." Like you don't walk into Kmart and have the Kmart employee say to you, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, this bag is $10." But we feel like we have to apologize and we feel like we have to question it. And I think that's the thing. I think we need to be more confident in our pricing. And I think the more confident we are, the more people will accept it, right? Because nobody walks in and questions a shop bag. And I'm not just talking, let's not talk Louis Vuitton, let's not talk, you know, those more expensive brands. Let's not talk Walmart either, because let's be fair. Everyone knows if you're walking into Walmart, if you're walking into Kmart, if you're walking into even Target, you know you are buying something that's made by a 12-year-old in Indonesia, right? Like, so let's not talk about those countries, not talk about those brands, but let's talk about a normal bag, a semi brand like Country Road or Mimco, or, you know, the more standard mid-range. You would walk in, you would see a bag, it's hung there, it's $100, you don't question it, you buy it or you don't buy it. But we question our own pricing because we're the ones who put the price on it. And I think that has a lot to do with, did anyone actually ask me about pricing or did I go on a tangent? But I think that has a lot to do with about the justifying, yes. And the justifying comes from ourselves. It's because we are still justifying it. I genuinely feel like a lot of it is ourselves in our head. Like, let's talk about, I know I've bought the Vuitton out a few times now. Let's talk about this girl because she is my most expensive bag. Oh, she's not my most expensive bag. The Taylor, the garment convertible duffel, she's my most expensive bag. But I think we all know why. We've seen the size. This is my most expensive bag, the Vuitton. So if anyone asks why it's $320, please, nobody tell my customers, please, if you're a customer, turn off and stop watching. Why is this $320? So this is $320 because I priced it before I've made it. Yep, I'm admitting to it. I did not use the bag cost calculator. I priced it. The first time I made the Vuitton, so the Vuitton is the bag that I won the Sydney Royal Easter Show on. It's a bag that I had saved up when I saw all the tester makes come out. It's beautiful. I loved it. And I thought, do you know what? That's the bag. And then when I got the thistle fabric from Inklings, I was like, okay, this will make a gorgeous Vuitton. That's what I'm making. Truth be told, based off the photos, I thought the bag was bigger. I thought the bag was maybe 150% bigger than what it was. I could have looked at a ruler and worked out it's not as big as I thought it was. I didn't. And so the Sydney Royal Easter Show, the craft show, they have deadlines. Okay. So the bag's not due till, I want to say, April. Um, but the cutoff to enter the competition is, say, January, mid-January. The deadline to put a title, a description, and a price if you want to sell it is early February. During this time, I had a bunch of stuff happening with the kids. I don't even remember what. I just know that I was crazy busy. And so I never got a time to try and make this bag before I don't even think I'd owned the pattern yet at that point, to be honest. So I priced it based off photos of what I thought a bag like that would cost. And after I made it, truth be told, I thought, oh, it's smaller than I thought. Like, it's not, oh, I don't know. Charlie, my partner, and he's a very realistic person, right? He said to me, Sam, you're overthinking it. I think this is a $300 bag. It looks like a $300 bag. I'm like, okay, let's just do it. So the Verdon is one that I've literally priced off nothing. There is no justification at all. So like when we talk about justifying pricing, it's one of the only bags I've ever made where I've literally just thrown a number and hope it sticks. Next thing I know, the bag sold at the Easter show. I didn't think it would. I thought I overpriced, but one of the good things about being sold at the craft show is I am not there. So I am not there to ruin the sale for myself. So it is an artwork. Someone goes up and says, I want to buy that bag. The salesperson's just like, yep, that's $320. How would you like to pay? Conversation over, right? So that's kind of what happened. And that's how I sold my first Verdon. And then, so when I made another two for Supernova, I already sold one for $320. I can't now go back and be like, I'm going to sell it cheaper. And so that kind of gave me the confidence when people asked me for the pricing. I was like, $320. I still felt like I had to justify a little bit, not going to lie. I told people that's part of my luxury range, my luxury line, because that's what we do, right? Like we are our own worst critics, and we are our own people who don't spend money on our bags. And I want to make this very clear. And this is something I have to tell myself all the time. People who don't spend money on our bags, they're not doing it because they think our bag isn't worth it. I think that's where we stuff up a lot, because we're going in as a business and we've been taught to think our whole life. Like I did economics in uni, right? So supply and demand, right? We've been told our whole life that if something isn't selling, the price is wrong. That's not the case. I can love an Hermes bag as much as I want. If I can't afford to buy it, it doesn't mean the Hermes is overpriced. I can't afford to buy it. Okay. And I think that's something that it'd be lovely if we can be like, everyone can come in and buy one of our bags. Like it'd be lovely, but we can't cater to that. We can't, it's not a possibility. So I think we need to be more confident with our pricing. That's one thing that I love about the bag cost calculator from Sophisticated. Truth be told, I don't use it enough because I am time poor. But whenever I do use it, it gives me that confidence knowing, because I know I'm a good bag maker. I know I'm a fast sewer. I know if I say it's 3 hours of time, I know I'm worth that 3 hours of time. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like the biggest point with pricing isn't that we need to justify it, is we need to stand behind it. Sorry, that was a massive tangent, but that's the hardest thing, I think, is us understanding and standing behind it. And again, that goes back to the display, because you will lose customers. I'm not saying you won't lose customers. You will lose customers who come by your store. Sorry, I heard noises outside. You will lose customers who come by your store, flip open the price tag, wherever my price tag is. It's $300. I'm not paying $300, and they walk away. So that's where that display strategy of having your cheaper stuff all around the outside, I think, really helps. I'm going to see if I can bring these photos back in, because I don't know if you guys saw it or if I talked about it. One of the other things that I found was really useful was pricing. Until very recently, I've been very scared of pricing. Um, Not because I think my prices are wrong, like I did that big tangent, you guys know this, but because I felt like not that pricing is a dirty thing, but, like, I guess maybe a little bit pricing is a dirty thing because people think like, "Oh, this is handmade, this is da 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 da," and, like, most of it is in our head. Most of this, I want to reiterate, this is in our head. Like, I'm not saying some consumers don't think that, some consumers do think that, but in true consumer fashion, right, when you are looking to buy something, you are looking to buy something. So if you look at something and the quality is nice and it's exactly what you're looking for and the pricing fits your budget, you will buy it, right? It's not about, "Oh, but she handmade this, so this should be cheaper." The people who are saying this to you, and I'm sorry if this rubs people the wrong way, are the people who can't afford to buy it. Those people won't go in and say that to Hermes. They won't go in and say that to Louis Vuitton. They won't go in and say it to Gucci, but they will say it to you because you are standing there and they're hoping that you will drop your price. Okay. That is a conversation I had to have with my sister this year moving into Supernova. She pulled me aside and we talked about this beforehand because I am a sucker. I am a sucker for doing this. I feel sorry for someone and I drop the price. No, I feel sorry for someone, but, like, I feel like they're really nice. I feel like they're whatever, and I'll drop the price. Um, there's a few instances where I kinda did it, and she's like, "You don't have to do it." I'm like, but technically they did fall into that, buy 5 items, get 10%." So, like, I had a lady that came back to my store 3 times, over the course of 2 days, and each time she bought something else. And so by the 3rd time, she had bought 5 items. So I discounted it. I think that's fair. My sister thought that was unnecessary, but I think it's fair. So what I wanted to talk about on these photos. So pricing, I used to hide my pricing. I am trying to become more open with pricing. And this is feedback that I had gotten from someone. This one's probably a better photo here. This is feedback I had received from another shopper. She is a shopper. She is someone who goes to conventions a lot. And she is someone who also does artist alley. She does, like, resin earrings. And she said, "Sam, you need to have more prices." I was like, "Why?" Like, if you guys can see every single one of these bags with the circle, that's my pricing tag. How hard is it to go up, flip it over, and look? And what she told me, which I never accounted for, is as much as we feel dirty and scared about pricing, people do too, because people have budgets, right? Most people have budgets. You go into a con, a lot of, especially if you're doing conventions, right? A lot of these conventions, people have a budget. They have a $200 budget. They like your bag. They don't know if they can afford it. They don't even want to go up and touch it because they're worried they'll touch it and you will talk to them. And that freaks them out. So she said, have price tags. So I did. And that has made a huge difference for me. So this, like I talked about here, the Wanderlust that I always had trouble selling, I sold, how many do I have left in the slot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 left, so I sold 8. I sold 8 at Supernova this weekend, okay? I sold 1 before that. In a whole year, I sold 1. I sold 8 at this one convention because of the way it was displayed and because of the pricing. So I had that price label right there. Super easy to see. And then against the wall here, you guys might be able to see my H2Os. Underneath, I had pricing directly underneath it. But, and this is a huge but, I only did that for my cheaper bags, okay? So my H2Os I have for 66. My Wanderlust I have for 50. I didn't do that. Like you'll see up on the back wall here, I've got my Pandora Charismas. I've got, there's my Hexa tote. I've got a fold and zip up there. I've got the Venture tote up there. I've got my Lunas. I've got a B hip. All of them have prices on them, but I didn't have an outright price display. And the reason for it is I wanted people to come in. I wanted people to come in and fall in love with the bag first. Before I then turned around and went, by the way, I want your newborn. No, it's going to cost you your newborn. But, and I think that was something that worked really well for me. I also sold a lot of H2Os. The H2Os were really good sellers for me, but the H2Os were good sellers because of the fandom. I had 3 Doctor Who ones. They all sold instantly. This is I don't know if it's a mistake that other exhibitors are doing or if they don't care. But one thing that I heard a lot of people say to me after coming back was that they couldn't find any then that they couldn't find any sorry, backtrack. So the biggest stars that were at my convention, and I'm sorry if I've left anyone out that someone is in love with, Critical Role, so the D&D people. So I had dice trays, especially for them. I made dice trays. I didn't realize I made a keyring that was drop bears. Apparently that's a Critical Role thing as well. They have something about drop bears, but I just made it because I love drop bears. I think it's hilarious. If you come to Australia, beware of drop bears. Vegemite behind your ears. Sorry. And then Jamie Fraser from Outlander, well, Sam Hewen. So Jamie Fraser from Outlander and Alex Kingston, so Miss Riversong from Doctor Who. So they were probably the three biggest draw cards for the show. Critical Role, I mean, there's other stores that sold dice trays, stores that sold die, so I guess that kind of covers it. But apparently not many people had Doctor Who or Outlander stuff at all. So in the H2Os, I had a bunch of water bottle bags. Those sold within the first hour of the show. The show opened, within an hour, all my water bottle bags that were Doctor Who were sold. Because no one else apparently in the whole convention hall catered for Doctor Who. One of the most loved characters from Doctor Who was here. No one thought to cater. So that's something to be wary of. So if you are doing like a pop culture show, check who is there, because those celebrities draw in people. Those people want to spend money. Like, for example, I was talking to a lady. If you went to Supernova and you got photos and signatures of every single one of the people from Critical Role, which was 9 of them, that was $3,500. These people dropped $3,500 on getting signatures and photos. They are in a spending mindset. Yes, they might be poor, but they're also in a spending mindset and they want to spend money. Okay. They want to. Let them. Okay. So questions. How long does it take to make a fold and zip? I'm not going to lie. I've not made one in a little while. I think for me, the fold and zip is about 3.5, 4 hours. But I am a fast sewist. I have been told multiple times I am fast, especially when it comes to binding. I have a binding video. No. So don't base yourself against me. Nikki, one of my friends, she's told me multiple times that I am a super fast sewist. I don't think I am that fast, but I might be. So yes, don't base it off that. I am and I also want to, I don't want to admit this, but I need to admit this. I think I really enjoy sewing. So sometimes I lie about how long it takes me to make a bag. Because I'm enjoying the process, to be honest. And sometimes I think it takes me less time than what it does. Sorry, Padfoot's coming in. Hello, Padfoot. You're too short. Yeah. Nicole, pricing is, if it's a complicated, I'll multiply that bag cost by 3. That's usually any bag that takes me longer than 2 hours to make. I normally charge hourly for my bags. Yes. And that's 13 hours. Oh, don't be embarrassed. Nikki's not here, so I won't throw her under the bus, but Nikki would easily take days. Easily. It's funny because she's a much more experienced sewist than me, but she is slow. No, I think a lot of my speed is honestly my sewing machine. If those of you haven't seen it, I sew on a vintage Singer, Singer 201. So she's obviously a slow machine compared to, some of the modern industrial machines, but she is a beautiful straight stitch machine. So I attribute a lot of my top stitching to her. I don't think I'm that talented. I don't think I am that skilled. My machine does the hard work. So I know a lot of people slow down when they top stitch and they slow down when they do some of the more like trickier things. My machine is such a beautiful machine, and she sews so beautifully that honestly it lets me go faster. So yes, hello. Sorry, his Padfoot's come in for a hello. I shouldn't have patted him. Now that I've patted him, he's like, I'm not going anywhere. Water bottle bag. Oh, yep, the pricing. Nicole was talking about the pricing. So I don't know how many of us here do sophisticated craft design bags. That's Jassie's bags is one of the reasons why I can't do cost times 3. Okay. And there is a good reason for it. So, oh no, my battery is somewhat dying on this laptop. Let me message Charlie, my partner, to bring me the charger. Please bring computer laptop. Please bring laptop charger. Okay, sorry, that was very rude of me. So one of the things that so one of the things with Jassie's bags and Sophisticated's bag, I love them because they're super. And actually, I haven't told Jassie this yet. Someone commented to me when I was at Supernova that they don't buy handmade bags because handmade bags never have enough pockets. And I understand it because that's one of the reasons why I do those Wonderlusts, right? Because they're cheap, they're quick. It only has one zipper pocket. And I was like, oh, it's funny you say that because I only do bags that have lots of pockets. I turned around and I grabbed my Pandora Allure because I had that within hand reach. And I'm like, see, look at this. This has pockets and pockets and pockets. Oh, what's that? You want something for your credit cards too? That also has that in here too. And she was amazed. She was like, I never realized handmade bags could have pockets. I'm like, yes. They can have all the pockets you want. They can have as little pockets as you want. And I think that's something that sometimes we forget because, and this comes back to pricing, right? This comes back to us thinking that people don't want to pay. Sorry, I'm plugging in my laptop. I'm not trying to be rude. Sorry, I am here. And it comes back to us saying, people don't want to pay however much money for a bag and yada, 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 when in reality, we're not giving them that option. And that's what they were saying. The people were telling me they want bags with pockets. And I'm like, I have bags with pockets. That lady ended up buying, what did she buy? Can't remember now off the top of my head. I can't remember if it was a Luna or a Sassy Petite, which would be funny if it was a Sassy Petite because my retail Sassy Petites only come with a slip pocket. But yes. Yes, divider pockets are such a game changer. Slip pockets, slip pockets, slip pockets. They are probably my favorite pockets to make for a bag. All of my bags, no matter what I do, will always have at least one zipper pocket and at least one slip pocket. Zipper pockets because I personally believe every bag needs to have a zipper pocket, full stop. I don't care. It needs to have one. And a slip pocket or divider pocket because it gives someone an option of a pocket, but it doesn't cost that much time-wise or material-wise. Okay, I had a bunch of messages that I haven't been responding to. We talked about the price. I'm faster. Slow. Okay. No, I've not. Okay. Bag my friends. Okay. Yes, I do have a Roddy. Oh, where is Padfoot? No, he's sitting in front of me sulking now. He's my little boy. So Padfoot is my second child. So Kian's my oldest. So Kian's turning 5 in August. And we got Padfoot when Kian was 10 months old. So they literally grew up together. And Padfoot is Savannah, my little girl. She just turned 3 over the weekend. Padfoot is my little girl's baby. Well, he's Savannah's guardian. Having bags with divided pockets. Yep, but can't custom projects. Yeah. Always pockets. And yeah, if you do any of Jassie's pockets, it's patterns. It's so, yeah. Jassie's, yeah, sorry, that's how I got into pockets. So the thing with the pockets is they take longer, right? And that's why the times 3 never was not never. Truth be told, sometimes I do just go by that. But let's look at this guy here. Why am I pulling the charismas all the time? The Pandora series. If anyone has done any of the Pandora series, you'll suddenly understand why the times 3 doesn't work. So again, this is based off me being a faster sewist, right? The Pandora charisma, these guys probably cost me, they don't cost me a lot to make. They're not big. They're not big bags. They don't use a lot of fabric, use a lot of hardware. That's something I really try to stay away from is oh, sorry. I'm sorry you've lost your puppies. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm back. But yeah, fabric wise, they don't cost a lot, but it's the time, right? Like these guys are small bags, but it's the time. And sometimes people don't understand that, especially when it comes to smaller bags. Like these guys here, they take me, Jassie's going to correct me if I'm wrong again. I want to say 4 to 5 hours. These actually, funnily enough, these take me longer than a Travelizer. So if anyone's seen the Travelizer that Sophisticated Craft does, that's my biggest custom make. I sell the most of it. I think they probably take me about 4 to 5 hours now. When I first started doing them, they were about 8 to 10 hour makes. And it's that toiletries bag that comes out and it's hanging and it's super long and it's amazing. But yeah, if I did cost times 3 on these, I would be paying off $10 an hour. Like it's sustainable. And so that was one of the things that got me into the bag cost calculator, because Jassie, before she released the bag cost calculator, we talked about this a lot because my main business model is custom bags. And there's a big difference between custom in that with custom bags, we can do these more elaborate bags, right? So one of the newest releases, Nikki's here. Do you know Nikki? Actually, I haven't responded to Nikki, so I shouldn't really complain about Nikki. I invited Nikki to be on, and then she wrote back to me, and I was watching Ginny and Georgia, so I didn't respond to her. Sorry. So one of the newest bags that with the tailor, so for those of you, it's the garment bag that rolls up into the duffel. That bag, that one's like, I was worried about that one. I'm not gonna lie. I love the bag. I was worried about it from a selling perspective. When I was at Supernova, I have 4 of them available as retail. And when I was at Supernova, people loved it and they would look at it and they absolutely love it. But the pricing, it's the pricing, right? And like people understand it. Like, and that's the tailor. It's weird. So the tailor is the most expensive bag I sell. Okay. The tailor, the binded version, I have 480 on it. And the birthed version, I have 440 on it. I have no question. I have no problem telling people it's $480. And I have no problem telling people it's $440 because the bag is massive. It takes me a lot of time. It takes me a lot of effort. It takes me a lot of fabric. But for retail, if people want to pay that kind of money, they want to choose their own stuff. So I've got people on the custom list for tailors, and I've got 4 retail tailors ready. My 4 retail tailors, I even discounted them at Supernova, and people will not buy it. But I have people who want retail versions of it. And this is how annoying it is. So one of my retail versions of the tailor is a super cute Mickey Mouse one, right? The person doesn't like my lining color. They want to remake it because they don't like my lining color. I told them, because it's a custom, you don't get the discount that I'm offering at Supernova. You have to pay full price. They are fine with that because they want to choose the lining. So, yes. But anyway, it's fun. It's fun. Yep, Jessie said I got it down to 3 to 4 hours once I got familiar with the pattern. And that's something that happens, right? The more you do a pattern, that was my claim. I'm not dropping out too much for you guys. I'm trying to get comfy. Since I plugged in my laptop, it's showing me as connect. So I'm hoping that's not actually the case and it's just me. Yeah, so we talked a bit about display. We talked a little bit. One thing I do want to talk about display, because I was talking to someone else about this yesterday that's been messaging me, and this is one of the things why I have no problem sharing everything I can, because I've been helped a lot in this industry as well. Display. So we tend to, I don't want to say pat each other on the back or brag, but when you have a lot of stock, like when you see someone post a photo on social media, another bag maker, and they have a lot of stock and they're one stacked behind the other and there's a lot of bags of the same style, you pat them on the back and you say, oh my God, that looks amazing. That, in my experience, and I could be markets experience, as a display that doesn't work. I've had displays where I would hang 20 H2O to goes right next to each other. You can still see them, like standing straight on, you can see them all. You can see the different colors, you can see that they're all different. But people don't tend to flick that often. Like, you have people that like to, and then you have people that don't. They're two very, very distinct people. And so the people who don't like to flick, if the one on the top isn't what they like, they're not going to flick and look at the second one or the third one. So I found actually having everything on display is better for me and being able to see everything. And I know that's obviously size dependent, and some of us can't do that. There was another bag lady at Supernova, and she sewed a lot of bags. Let me tell you, there was a lot of bags there, but you had to dig to look for it. And I think sometimes, I don't know how she did. She said she did really good. I hope she did really good. But because you have to dig, sometimes you get overwhelmed as a consumer. You don't have a lot of time. You know, you've only got so much time. So let's keep this in mind. And I know I'm talking specifically about this event, but this goes for everything too, right? So Supernova is 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. Okay. To put this in perspective, one of the ladies who spent a couple $100 with me, on day 12:30, 6 o'clock, lining up with Critical Role. So she had on day one, 10 o'clock to 12, to shop 2 giant halls full of merchandising, to use the bathroom, to have breakfast, to have lunch, to then go line up. So you don't have, and they don't have, 20 minutes to shift through stacks and stacks of bags. So it doesn't work. And yes, like what Nikki's saying, like the high-end boutiques, they normally look empty. So like my store had stuff. It looked empty for me. To me, I felt like it looked really empty, but there was enough there to keep people's attention. And I'm bringing the photo back across. So entire screen. So, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. So my high-end bags, or my more expensive bags, all hanging up. You can see them without flicking. The only bags that you had to flick through was my peonies. These guys here, if you don't know the peonies. And I had a couple of other wristlets there as well. I think I've got a Jackie wristlet and I want to say the Sunshine maybe. But of all the bags that I had here on display, my peonies got the least amount of attention because people had to flick through and look for what they were looking for. I had people would still look at it, but most of the time they looked at the front and back one. Or if there was a color sticking out from the side that they liked, they might pull that one out. But otherwise, the peonies didn't get much love at all. So right now in this photo, you see the peonies here. This is on day 2. So on day 1, I actually had the peonies on, let me see, over here. I had them where this Taylor duffel is. It was here. And that did horribly. So that's why I moved them over to the other side to trial and see if that would do it better. Now, we talked about some people like to flick through things, right? This is my best flicker through thing that I got. So this rack here that spins, if you look closely enough, which you can't because this is a photo, that rack has exactly the same stuff as this rack. This rack, everything is showing. It is super clear what is there, and it's over here as well. So every single design I did is on its own. And then on this side, they're just there. Some people would like to spin, but I sold a lot more on the rack where you could literally see everything compared to that one that was a scrolly rack. So there's definitely a correlation between people having to work to find things. And I guess what Nikki kind of says is true with the high-end boutique and, bargain. You feel like you're digging, right? Like you half of the fun. And that's not what you want to portray when you're selling your own bags. You don't want to be a bargain hunter. You want to, or you're not attracting the bargain hunters. You want people to fall in love and find that one. And that's what I am. I am having a little bit of a technical issue, I think. Oh, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I disappeared for a little bit. I'm hoping that wasn't too much and you guys could still hear me. So that's one of the big things is recently marketing will tell you this. Each brand has an identity and you need to find the words that you identify with for your brand. I've recently done that. My brand identities is handcrafted. Oh, good. Jess can hear me better. So it's handcrafted, artisan made, and it's a new thing that I've started. It's award-winning, unique, and handcrafted. Oh, my connection keeps dropping. Oh, I'm here. I don't know if it's my phone now. Okay, so my thing is about being unique. So I've always when I first started, I said I catered to geek. I was sophisticated geek, right? And then I started realizing, yes, I am sophisticated geek, but I am also, my biggest thing is that I'm unique because I don't just do pop culture. I do a lot of florals. I do a lot of not punk, but like it's stuff that I like. So I think the best way to describe it was unique. My customer, whoever wears my bag, wants something unique. And so I've started trying to display and create based off of that. So of my own energy, of my own identity. So I'm injecting more and more of my identity into my brand, into my store, and I'm attracting the same kind of like-minded people. So, and I think that's one of the things that has been working with me. working for me. Oh, I've got a broken fingernail. It's catching on my on my cardigan. We're talking about the spinning thing. So that's what I wanted to talk about the spinning thing, and talk about someone asked me on creative bag making about theft and how worried I was about it. And I talked a bit earlier about outside, like that it was better to invite people into the store or not. So to me, I found the inviting people in, but also allowing people to be outside worked really well. For me, from a theft, but also from a sales perspective. From a sales perspective, it worked because, like I said before, all my cheapest the outside items. So people who can't afford the $2, $3, $10 pouch or a $15 keyring, and they didn't have to search for it. There, it's easy to access. And here, and we're thinking pouches, $15 keyrings, that's not worth a lot. I don't think I mentioned this. I know I mentioned day 2 was a bad day on these kind of con circuits. So day 2 last year, I did $200 until up, and someone came up to me as I was parking down and dropped the price of one of my laptop bags. And because I did so little, I was just like, oh, just take the damn bag, take it, so I can at least say that I made a little bit of money. So that killed me. Okay, so this year I came into day 2 knowing day 2 was bad. I knew day 2 was bad, but the newest addition that I had this year compared to last year was my keyrings, better display system for my petite pouches. For those of you who joined later on, and normally just all displayed in a tray, and you have to dig through it like we were talking about just before. Yes, great customer service. I totally agree with Mike on that one. By the time duck them so that you can see them, and that helps get better sales for them. But this year on day 2, I did $1,600, I think, $1,600. So it sounds decent. Like it's good money. Like, don't get me wrong, it's good money. Super good compared to $200 last year. But of that $1,600, I sold one $90 bag. Okay. So that means $1,500 made from keyrings and little pouches. Okay. That's where we need to remember that. As much as we're like, oh, why care about these little sales? These little sales add up. Like, add up. Realization for me. So having those little things at the front wasn't taking up prime real estate. I used to be in real estate. So past life, I was a real estate agent, and we used to talk about bread and butter clients. And that's what it was. The little pouches and the key, your bread and butter. They're not your waterfront properties. They're not the things that will make you rich, but I don't know what's happening. My internet keeps dropping out, or at least my camera keeps looking like it's dropping out. I'm hoping it's not doing that for you. And I am kind of wondering if it has anything to do with Charlie being upstairs, potentially gaming and killing my internet. I don't know. Let me message him quickly to make sure he is not killing my internet. Oh, actually, do you know what? It might. Let me try this. Let me try this and see. Oh, sorry. I don't look as pretty in this. I've come across to my laptop computer. I was about to go yell at Charlie because I thought Charlie was killing my internet. It turns out, for whatever reason, my phone that I use to as a computer keeps disconnecting. I don't know why. So I will get rid of that, and you guys get to look at me like this. When I did anime convention selling items, I remember what it was. Yeah, $10 fur wigs. That's what I'm talking. Like, it's the bread and butter. Like, we can sit there and talk about, anyway. Theft. That's what we were talking about. Stop distracting me. And thank you, Nicole. I really do like doing lives. The only problem with my lives is for some reason I can't stop talking. I talk a lot. So if you guys ever feel like I talk too much and you need to get me back on track, just tell me, Sam, shut up. Talk about this. So theft. Theft was something I was yes, it's the gaming. Gamings are killing the internet. It's so annoying. Theft was something we were really worried. It never crossed my mind. And I think that's probably like what we talk about, like great customer service. And I don't think I have great customer service, but I am friendly and I am approachable. Okay. Not trying to pat my own back, but I think I am. So one of the things, so theft never crossed my mind, but it was something my sister and Charlie, my partner, was super worried about. I didn't lose a single thing. As far as I am aware, I've counted all of my key rings. I believe everything is accounted for. Unless someone stole 1 or 2 petite pouches, everything is accounted for. I haven't lost anything. We do. Everything Nicole's been typing, I'm like, yeah. But I haven't lost anything this Supernova, which I'm not going to lie, I was worried about a few times. There's a lot of kids, and as a mum to kids, I know kids are the biggest thieves. Like, I can't walk out a shop without telling my 4-year-old to show me what's in his pockets because I don't trust him anymore. Like, I don't. Okay. Nikki's picking on me for talking too much. So I'm gonna take us back to the photo because this camera makes me look hideous. So let's go back to the screen share and let's go back over here. So one of the big things that I did that I thought helped with anti-theft was this guy here, this rack here. So this rack here, like I said before, more people would buy from this rack than they would from this spinning rack, right? But this spinning rack, you can't tell now because this is halfway through day 2, I think. This spinning rack has way more key rings than this rack had. And what we did, and we did this on purpose, was this rack would only have 2 of every design out. So no more than 2 max. And then all of the others, the spares, because I tried to make 20 of each design. And all the others went into this one, the rotating one. And I think because of that, it made it harder because people didn't want to steal from here. So, because Kylie and I were most of the time standing here. Okay, this is our standing spot. Over here next to the garment bag, we have a hidden little stool. That's our little Heidi sitting spot. But most of the time we were standing here behind the table. So they didn't want to steal from here because it's right where we are. We can see you super clearly. You're not going to take anything from there. But this rack, if we're standing here and we're looking out here, truth be told, this rack is kind of a hidden spot. But because there was only 2 of everything, I think it kind of deterred people a little bit because if they took something, it would be super obvious. Everything else, all the expensive bags being inside, helped with the fact that it's harder to steal. These little guys are all hung up. So I don't know if you can see, but they're all kind of hung up with the same little hooks that I've got the key rings on. So they're not the easiest to take down. So that kind of also helped to, sorry, that's a photo of me and my sister. That's our little cubby hole of stuff that we hide. So I think all of that kind of helped deter stealing a little bit. Because I think as much as theft, people steal stuff and that's just normal. Most of the time people steal because there's opportunity, right? There's opportunity and they want it and they can't afford it. Most of it is a thrill thing. When you make it harder for them like that, they won't do it, I think. But yes, customer service. I don't tend to talk to people a lot until they start talking to me. Because I don't know if you guys have seen the meme going around. It's so true, where the easiest way to lose a customer at a market stall is to start talking to them. But I make it very clear I am right there. If you need to talk to me, I am here. If you do conventions as well, and this is something I kind of tried to swipe through, but I didn't actually talk about it, the pricing displays. So the pricing displays, not talking to people unless they talk to you first. All of these is actually a strategy, especially for conventions, for neurodivergent, neurospicy, because a lot of people who attend these conventions are either on the spectrum, have ADHD. They feel comfortable that they're among their own people when they're at these conventions, but a lot of them are also highly introverted, okay? So they don't like you talking to them. We, as crafters, we get very excited to tell them, oh my God, I made all of this, aren't I amazing? This is all made by me. This is how I do it. This is da-da-da-da-da. They don't want to talk to us. So when we talk to them, they get scared. Nikki, you weren't here when I was talking about this, so you can go shh. Sorry. So everything is still individually priced, but have a big sign above the stuff that I have a lot of. So like my water bottle bags, I had a sign there that says $66. This is how much it is. So that if they were too scared to touch the individual price tags, because there are people that are scared to touch the individual price tags. Yeah. So now that's the thing I've learned. So individual pricing works for me, but to an extent. Individual pricing plus giant signs everywhere. I don't know how many of you saw the petite pouches signage. I don't have a good photo of it, but I have, oh my God, I can have 7 signs saying $10 a petite pouch up, and I will still get asked every single market, how much are these pouches? The sign's right there. But yeah. So one of my marketing strategies, and I don't know if this is good customer service or bad customer service, is I don't talk to you until you talk to me. But I am also, and I have been told I do stuff that is unnecessary, but I like to operate my store as a human being first and a business next. I think is probably the best way to say it. So like I how do I say that? I don't know how to. So like I'm very aware of people walking around and they're holding things, and maybe my brain works a little bit differently. I've been brought up to be very much think about be in someone else's shoes, and that's genuinely my first thought process. Whenever I see someone, I don't automatically think, oh, if I'm in their shoes, but it is a very natural thought process for me to think about how the other people is feeling, what they're doing, how are they doing, to the point where I see a therapist about it. I do. I overthink and I am too empathetic. Yes, that is a thing. You can't be too empathetic. But so one of the things that I offer, which I never thought was a big thing, but apparently is I will see people come into my store, and for example, there was a lady on day 2 of the con, and she was walking around the convention with her CPAP machine. For anyone who has a CPAP machine, do you know how heavy and big those things are? Like, it's a big, chunky bag. It's heavy. And without even thinking, I just offered, hey, like, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. This con goes till 6. I am here all day. You know my business name. I own this business, so you can trust that. If you would like to leave your bags here, I have the space. You're more than welcome to. And that's kind of how I like to run my business. I like to run my business by allowing and helping people. And I think sometimes that helps others as well. It makes people feel more safe. It makes people feel more connected to you, because I think that's what makes a small business different, though, right? To a big corporate business, is we see the people first. And I think that's really important. So a lot of this year going into Supernova, I didn't have a lot of sales or deals, but I had things that would make your life busier. So I offered shopping storage service. So if you bought anything from me, I will store your bags. I would message you at the end of the day if you hadn't showed up by, like, Supernova ended at 6, and I would text people at 5, 5:30. So once at 5, once at 5:30 to remind them, hey, you still have stuff here. Yes, it's a little bit more work for me, but that's kind of my brand slash me. Like, it's about putting the person first and then the business next. And I think that's one of the things that we need to try and remember is that's how we compete against big business, right? Big businesses don't care, but we can care because we're small businesses. I guess. I don't know. I'm rambling again. As soon as Nikki comes on, I start rambling. I blame Nikki. But I think the personal side of me is also what helps stop theft a little bit, because I make it super clear, like, you're not, and my sister doesn't think it makes a difference. She thinks as people are going to steal, they're going to steal. But I think if you show them who they're stealing from, if they realize that they're stealing from a real person, I do think it minimizes it a little bit. Maybe it's just in my head, but I feel like it does. Yeah. And funny thing is, this is not something I thought about when I offered the free shopping service, right? When I was offering the free shopping service, I was genuinely just thinking, it's just a nice, decent human being thing to do. If I was walking around a convention all day and I had bags and bags, and some people flew in interstate for this, right? So some people flew in straight off their flight and came with suitcases in tow. Having somewhere to drop their bags would make them come, well, from a business standpoint, first of all, it would make them come back. So it makes sense business-wise, but it makes sense as a personal level too. Like, I've paid for the space, I've got the space free. Why not use it to be a better human being and allow people to have access to store stuff that doesn't cost you anything? But at the same time, I'm kind of forcing them to come back, right? Like, so it's kind of a good marketing decision and a good human being move at the same time. So see, I'm not a good person. I'm a marketing mastermind. No, please don't. I am not a marketing mastermind. Do not listen to anything I say. Why are you people still watching me? But I think that's one of the things. It's making it personal. That's exactly what it is. It's make it personal and customer service. I've said this a lot before. I live off caffeine. I am a mother to 2 young children. I have a small business. I am attempting to be a YouTube personality. Hello. Please pretend I didn't do that. Hello. What is wrong with me? But so time is not my friend, and I have no brain power left. I can't lie. I can't pretend to be anyone I'm not. I can't dress up to be anything more than I can be. I can only be myself. And that is what makes me the most unique. And that's what makes my bags the most unique. You know, like, I will not appeal to everybody. My bags will not appeal to everybody. But the people that I appeal to and the people that my bags appeal to, they will be my people and they will buy my things. And so I think always putting yourself forward, to me, is the best business decision you can do. I thought about that, Nikki, the free shipping. I did. And then I got scared. So that is something that is really, really good tip for some of you guys that can offer it. I don't know how much shipping is in different countries and how much everything is, but free shipping is something that crossed my mind. I really did think about it for a long time. I got scared off because I was worried how much it might cost me and it might not have been worth my money. But some people would definitely be happy to. Oh, I love this. I make besties all the time on these shows. No, I'm joking. I have no friends. That's why I'm on here for 2 hours in the middle of the day. I have no friends. Why am I still drinking this? Oh, but yes. Absolutely love it. The bag making community has done so much for me. I've said this before in some of my other videos, and like, people, I people don't understand, and it's really funny. I had bag makers come to my store. I've had bag makers come to my store. I had a really funny interaction, actually. I had this lady come English. I had this lady come up to me at Supernova, and she was dressed as the TARDIS. I hope you're not watching. She was dressed as the TARDIS, and she was wearing a bag made with this fabric. And she immediately came in, grabbed this bag, and then she looked at me and went, I know where you get your fabric from. And I love that. I absolutely love it. I had a lady who came up to me and she's like, oh, I hope you don't mind me asking, but I've been trying to get into bag making more and I want to buy faux leather. Where do you buy your stuff from? I have no problem sharing my supplies. I have no problem at all. I know some people are a bit like, oh, if I share it, I'm getting competition. I have no problem sharing my suppliers, my patterns, my tips, my tricks, because there is such a big marketplace for all of us. And I say this, like I said this to the lady, the other bag maker lady at Supernova. Even though we're both at Supernova, so we're both obviously both selling similar things, we are different. She does a lot more messenger bags. She does a lot of like clutches, pouches. I don't. I like big bags. I like fancy bags because it's more fun for me. I find it mentally stimulating. She likes the clutches. She likes all of that because it's more of a wind down. It's like, it's a different mental state, right? Like with what you're sewing. I like to be stimulated and be like, oh, what am I doing next? She likes to calm down and, you know, but also she does a lot more horror stuff. I hate horror stuff. I've done it once for someone. I don't want to do it again. So like there is plenty of market for all of us. And like I have no problem sharing my knowledge and I have no problem sharing because like the more you talk about it, the more you learn, right? And I think the more genuine you are, the better the universe is to you, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah. We are very lucky. We are in such a great community. I know people that do like resin and I know people that do like clay earrings. And when they talk about their craft to other people in their crafting circles, they don't share information. And I feel like we're very lucky in the sewing community that there's a lot of us that are happy to share. And why not? There's enough. I mean, I can sew to my heart's content and I could never capture the whole world's market because that's just not going to happen. Like I need sleep at some point. Might not seem like it, but I do need sleep. Yes, the creepy stuff is too creepy. It like I can't do it. I just can't. And like you guys know, I like doing these bags that take long periods of times, right? Like I'm not just sitting there doing like boxy pouches and little things like that. If I am staring at Freddy Krueger for 4 hours, I will have nightmares for the rest of my life. Not really, but and this is embarrassing. So when I was here's a private story. When I was a teenager, as teenagers do, we try to impress our friends, right? We went to go see Dark Water. Dark Water was a Japanese movie. If any of you haven't seen it or heard of it, please never look it up. Do not do it. But the Japanese version, not the Hollywood version. It's kind of like The Ring and The Grudge, but to do with water. Yeah, no spoilers. But I was so petrified of it that as a teenager, 15, 16-year-old teenager who is, you know, body conscious, obviously, I showered for the next 2 years with the door open and towels hanging over the mirror because I was so scared. I was so scared. It's bad. It's so bad. Yeah, I am not good for horror. I love darker stuff, but not horror. So dark I can do, horror I can't. Like Nikki does, if you haven't seen any of Nikki's stuff from Resin Melody, who's commenting here, and hopefully she's disappeared now. She does some beautiful, beautiful horror, darker. I guess you don't do that many horror, do you? And, like, it's beautiful, and every time she says something, I'm like, "Oh, maybe I can go into that little darker sphere." No, 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 I cannot. I cannot. I try, I cannot. I'm like, "This is my style. I like colorful and bright." But no, no, no horror for me. No, 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 no. Even I don't know how many of you are Doctor Who fans. Um, Doctor Who, one of the I don't know if they're called bad guys, but um, the Weeping Angels. I this fabric has Weeping Angels on it. Luckily, they're not too. What does it? No, it's not the Weeping Angels. Okay, but whenever there's fabric, I love, I love Doctor Who. But any fabric that has Weeping Angels in it, someone brought out a zipper pull with Weeping Angels on it. I can't. I just can't even touch it. I can't. I try. I can't. I saw a weeping angel at Supernova. I almost like, yeah, nah, no, 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 no. Oh, Silence of the Lamb. Yeah, I can't even. Oh, oh, yes, never blink. Why are you doing this to me? Oh, see, we are going off trail because of horror, because of how scared I am of it. Oh, it is scary. Yeah, why would you watch Freddy Krueger if you're scared of gremlins? Oh, that is hilarious. Sorry. I'm like, I know you guys didn't tune in for this, but if you tuned in right now, we're talking about horror now. No, we're not. Please don't talk about horror. Oh, oh, this is freezing cold. But have I covered everything with the market? Is there questions that anyone has for me about it? We've talked about theft a little bit. We've talked money, 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 money. I do want to talk about money a little bit because I think a lot of us have been pulled into no defamation case, please, if they are watching this, the Square scam. I call it the Square scam. And I know in the US you guys have them too. These little guys, the squares. When I first got into selling in markets, that's what I applied for, Square, because it almost felt like Square was the only payment software I could use for small business, right? Because obviously, yes, we all love cash, but cash is dwindling in Australia, especially. I don't know how bad it was in the US, but during COVID, businesses wouldn't accept cash. And that's kind of stuck a lot. I was told at Supernova that the bigger stores wouldn't even accept cash. So, like, I don't know if Disney was one of them that didn't accept, but like the big stores like Disney wouldn't accept cash. You had to pay with card and card only. So the Square, I call it the Square scam. It's not really a scam, but I know even in Ginny and Georgia, sorry, I'm talking about Ginny and Georgia because that's what I'm watching on Netflix at the moment. Joe's Cafe, for anyone who watch it, he uses Square as a payment system. Like, it's that ingrained on us. It's on Netflix shows, right? So a lot of us go to get Square straight away. If you are using Square, double check your rate. I know a lot of businesses, and I'm not condemning you if you do it. A lot of businesses are just like, I don't care what they charge. I'll just charge the consumer on top. I don't do that. I don't charge for fees on top, mainly because as a consumer, I hate it when people do it to me. Like this coffee, if you tell me this coffee is $4.50, but when I tap my card, it becomes $4.80, how is that fair? Like, that's not. Yeah, like it's not. And I get it. I get that there is a fee, but the fee percentage, let's be honest here, business owner to business owner who owns a Square, the fee isn't that much. Okay. So I think fees, and I know Australia were cheaper. I believe we are cheaper. From talking to Jassy from Sophisticated, our fees with Shopify is cheaper too. So I think Square charges 2.2% in Australia, I want to say. Double check what other places you can get a payment system and how much it costs, because it will make a huge difference. So recently, one of our main banks in Australia, CommBank, I am not affiliated with them. They're not my friends. I don't even have my personal banking with them. It's just my business banking. They bought out this deal where they had the readers. And if you opened a business bank with them, which the business bank was free, you can get up to 5 square readers. They're not called squares. I can't remember what they call them, card readers, for free. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And so the card readers cost me nothing. The account keeping fee is free unless you do transactions in store, which I don't because I hate lining up. I only do everything online. And the FPOS fee is 1.1%. So when we talk 2.2 and 1.1, it doesn't sound like a lot of money. When we're talking $100 transaction, that's $2.20 compared to $1.10. Again, not a lot of money. But if that's the difference between charging a consumer for it and not charging a consumer for it, do the homework and see if you can find a cheaper Square payment system, because we're all using cards and a lot of us are losing a lot of fees to these payment systems. I've recently moved for online. I've just moved across to Shopify. I was using Square's free website because I obviously had the Square system. And I was just using the free Square website. It didn't bring in any business because I'm somewhat technologically challenged and I couldn't make the website pretty. My Shopify website is much prettier. It's much more user-friendly, but it costs me money every month. I'm in the process of thinking, do I keep it or do I not? Because it costs me money and it's not drawing in organic purchases yet. I'm only getting buyers that I have bought in myself. So either people have come to my website through seeing my store or they've come to my website because of my socials, but I'm not getting people like just cold buyers. So I'm questioning if that is worthwhile. But this is the main thing when I'm talking about stores. Check your card payment system, because we all sit here and we think about our hardware costs and we think about our fabric costs, and we're not thinking about our cost of business. So I think that's something to watch out for. I talked to a few people at Supernova, and people seem to think it's a lot of effort to change banks. Maybe it's me. I've always been a bit different. I have bank accounts with almost every single bank in Australia. I'm a bit of a crazy person when it comes to banks. I collect banks. No, but I think, banks have no loyalty to you. So definitely do. We don't have Venmo in Australia. So I actually don't know how Venmo works. My understanding of Venmo is a kind of mobile phone bank transfer type thing. So I could be wrong on that. So we do have, you can transfer funds easily with someone's phone number, but we don't tend to do it. So with businesses, we tend to only accept card payment or cash in Australia. And we don't do anything else. Even PayPal, we have PayPal. I've got PayPal on Shopify, but I don't offer PayPal in person. The other thing that we have, which I think you guys might have as well, is, what's it called? Afterpay. We've got something called Afterpay where but that one, the fees are insane. So it's like 6.6%, I think, at the moment for us in Australia, where it's almost like a credit card payment. So the consumer will pay over four fortnights, so over 2 months, they'll do 4 payments to the company, but the company will pay you as a business outright first, but they charge 6% fee. I don't offer that in person unless someone asks. So if someone asks, I'll let them do Afterpay for a more expensive bag or whatever. It's a cash app. No, we do not have that I know of, or at least it's not something that we're expected to do. But definitely double check your fees. I will always say this, always double check your fees and see what fees are. One thing that, and this won't affect you guys in the US as it does us. So Amex. Amex charges businesses more fees traditionally than it does, than like Visa or MasterCard does. And because of that, a lot of businesses won't accept Amex. I accept Amex. The fees for Amex from my card reader is, the difference for Visa is 1.1% and Amex is 1.6%. Okay. But what I found is the people that want to use their Amex, if they can't use Amex, they won't pay with a Visa. Not because they don't have it, because most of the banks in Australia that come with an Amex card also come with a Visa card. But because Amex gets them more points, they kind of justify a spend with their points, which doesn't make sense to me, but people do it. And I think for that 0.5% fee difference, and let's think about this 0.5% of a fee difference. If we're talking a $500 bag, 0.5% is $2.50. So I have no problem accepting all cards, and I will accept all cards. Oh, it is a US thing too. Yeah, I know Amex is a US thing, but I didn't know if you guys paid more fees for it. So like that's a huge thing that's been happening in Australia is more and more businesses won't accept Amex and diners. Yeah, diners, because of the extra fees. And I think for me personally, I think that's not fair. And this goes back to pricing of our bags, right? Maybe this might sound unfair to someone who pays cash, but I price my bags bearing that in mind, right? Like card fees should be part of your business. Like, and I know there's a huge push saying, oh, but the bags are making so much money off of us. And that's true. I am not debating that. The bags are making a lot of money off of us for charging us to take people's money. But if we can't wear a 2% cost, then there's something wrong in our pricing. Okay. So, hello. I'm talking to a banker. Oh, sorry, no offenses. And I think that's something that we need to add on to does Dinosaur, I don't actually know. Does Dinosaur, it used to be huge when I was a kid. I remember my dad having his Dino Club card. But I've not actually seen Dino. I know Amex is still huge. I don't know if Dino still exists. But yeah, it's definitely something to think about, because I know, yeah, if I'm a consumer and I have to pay fees, and I know maybe in the US some are different, because it's different for you guys, because I know some states you guys add tax on after a purchase price, and that's not included, but that's not in Australia. So in Australia, if a bag says it's $10, you go to checkout, or if you go to McDonald's and the meal is $10, you go to checkout, it's $10. And I know that's not the case in some states. I remember, I think when I went to Hawaii, it gave me a big shock the first time I bought something, and the sign said it was $5. So I went up to the till with my $5, and the lady's like, "Oh, plus sales tax." I'm like, "What? What do you mean? But it says $5." But yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. I think the easier you make it for a consumer, the easier. Not always fair. That's true. The easier you make it for the consumer, the easier you make it for them to spend money. And that's what you want to do, right? You want to make it as easy for them to spend money as possible, so they spend their money with you. So yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to talk about was, yeah, double check if you are taking cards, how much your card payment system is charging, and make the change. And I will say this because, like I said before, my background is in economics. So money is something I think about. Not saying I'm money focused, but it's something I think about. And that was something that really annoys me about my sister, is my sister, she owns a small business too. She uses I think she uses Square too, but her Square account is from when Square first started, and fees were even high. It was like, so mine's on 2.2. I think hers is on 2.7. And I've told her so many times, go change it. And her small business is, I don't know if I can call it's a small business because she owns it. It's a small business, but it's a dental business. She does like aligners and mouth guards, and she's a dental technician, right? So like, I'm sitting here bringing in my like $20,000 a year, and I'm like, woohoo! And she's like $100,000 a year with the card. And so like 2.7% compared to 1.1 is a huge, huge difference when you're talking $100,000. But she won't change because she's too lazy to do it. I've offered to do it for her, but she won't. So don't be that person. Change it. Change your card system. Double check what your fees are and change it if you need to. And I know you mentioned Venmo. I don't know enough about Venmo to say anything about Venmo, but I think the biggest thing is make it easy for your customers. So I have no problem. Like, people are always like, oh, how do you let your customers pay? I have no problems. And I say this to my customers, whatever is easier for you. If you want to pay by cash, if you want to pay by card, if you want to pay by invoice, if you want to pay by bank transfer, if you want to pay by PayPal, I will meet you. I will do however you want to do. Padfoot? Sorry, someone scared Padfoot. I will accept payment however you want. I am flexible. Money is money and it will come to me. Come here. What is it? Sorry, our neighbor's gardening and it scared him a little bit, I think. He was passed out completely asleep. Do you want to come say hello? No? Here, let me bring you down. Here, this is Padfoot. You say hello. No, he's shy. He does not want to say hello. But yes, definitely check with your local banks. Yeah, do research. Do the research. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Display. I talked about all of that. But yes, my biggest display tip is still try to show as much as you can. Don't hide things behind. More stock is not the answer. Having too much stock is actually overwhelming for consumers. That was one thing I tried to do this year. I ran out of time. With the petite pouches, I actually bought so my petite pouches, my little $10 pouches that I show you guys that are 4x4, I normally make them with those with, I guess they're A4 sheet size. I don't know what the name for A4 sheet size in US is, but an A4 sheet vinyl faux leather normally makes me 3 of those pouches. And I used to use those. And that's why I have so many different designs, because I would buy whatever I liked at the time and I would make 3 petite pouches out of that design and then I'd move on to a different style. This year on purpose, I bought 12-inch rolls of vinyl because I wanted to make, I don't know how much would I'd get out of a 12-inch roll, but I wanted to simplify it and have less designs so that I wouldn't overwhelm people. I ran out of time. I didn't get to do it. So I was just still selling stock that I just have. I always have a lot of petite pouches because they just always sell for me. They are my safety net. But yeah, that's I think that was most of it. Grid wars, not grid wars. Some of you guys asked on my Facebook post the grid wall. And this is a little bit thinking out of the box, and it is something that my sister helped me with. So back to the photos again. So up here, these are grid walls. And some of you asked me, how did I get the grid walls up? Double check when you do these booths. So with this booth at Supernova, it comes with the shell. So it comes with the floor, it comes with the walls, and it comes with the sign at the top. The walls are Velcro compatible walls. So I just have grids that I stuck Velcro to the back of, and then so that's just stuck on with Velcro. That's all it is. It's nothing special. But by doing that, I could then hang things at eye level because eye level is better, right? I don't like tables because tables take up so much space. But by doing that, I managed to open up a lot more space while still having a lot of stuff on eye level. This thing here that looks like, oh, I zoomed out. This thing here that looks like a grid is actually a box. I'm really annoyed I didn't take photos on the other side. Let me see if I can YouTube it and show you guys what it is. But it's one of, not YouTube it, Amazon it. But it's one of those like grid boxes that you see a lot of people in artist alleys and that have a lot of the bag displays do it. Let me quickly look it up on Amazon. If you guys are staring at me right now, that's what I'm doing. But it is, I worked out, because everyone always has the boxes displayed, right? So you have the things in, am I even talking right? I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But people have the side where it's like a cube displayed. I realized that on the back you could have, what would it be called? Grid cube? I realized that on the back you could have things hanging from it, and that's what I did. Oh, here it is. Come on, open up on Amazon, and here we go. Once you guys see it, you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what that is. You probably already know what it is, and I'm wasting time. Cubicles. It is cubicles. I'm completely wasting time showing you guys this, but I think this was, because this is something that came to me later on. And then afterwards I was like, this is genius. So these kind of things. So I had it, I had it backwards. So I had it actually, the back was facing outside of the store. Let's see if I can see the back. They're not showing the back on these photos. But I had it the wrong way around. So I had the back was actually facing the outside of the store, and I was using it as a grid wall. And then when you came onto the inside each of these cube storages, I then had a Sassy Petite or what other bags do I have in there? Oh, Pixie Clears. All my Pixie Clears were in there. My Sassy Petites were in there. So they're bags that are kind of your hand-held bags that don't do as well hanging up. So I had those inside the cubes, but you had to come into the shop to look at them. And then I used the back as a hanging space. So I really love that. I thought that was really smart from my part, if I do say so myself. But I think a lot of us have those kind of cube storages, and they're not expensive. I think I bought 2 lots of those. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I was supposed to message her all my display stuff, and I haven't done that, so I need to do that too. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Anyone have any questions? Because I don't want to sound rude, but I kind of need to start running off soon. I'm supposed to get my hair done this afternoon, and I'm still debating over colors. I normally always go blonde. It's really gross at the moment. I had to delay my hair appointment because of Supernova. I was too busy to go get it done. But I'm thinking of going red or copper. I don't know. Anyway, yes, I know. It's with display. I think one of the things, I don't know why it's taken me so long. So I've been selling bags at markets and things for like 2 years now, like in person for 2 years now. And every time I display a little bit different, because it's very easy for us to fall into, oh, this worked for me last time, so I'm going to do it exactly the same. And I think that's a really dumb move to make. We need to change things up, and we need to swap things around based off blue. Oh my God, I would love to go blue. I used to be pink. Before I had the kids. Yeah. And I think each time you display, it's very easy to set up your display exactly the same that works. But I think it's also fun to change it around, because if you have different customers, or if you have the same customers, because even Supernova, I recognized that a few of the people that came through, I recognized from the year before. Like, they've seen your stuff. If I recognize them, they would have recognized me, because let's be fair, I've probably seen more people than they did. So you kind of, so if they've already seen it and they feel like, oh, I've already seen this before, they might not come in. But by changing up your display a little bit, you might draw something else to their attention that didn't catch their attention last time. And I'm not saying in the 2 years you'll have exactly the same bags, but you'll have similar style bags, and your own style doesn't change, right? So if you change your display around, you have a chance of changing your customer base around and potentially capturing that client that you didn't think of capturing before. And this time what I did, because I was so freaked out over the store fee of how high it was, is I actually, like I said, I put out the gazebo tent outside, and I played around for a week with display. And I think sometimes we don't do that because we're like, oh, I don't want to waste time. I don't want to do this. But that was super helpful for me to have that time to play around with a fake display. And I think a lot of us don't do it. Definitely play around with fake displays. Try it out before your actual market store and see what works. Pretend to be a customer, walk through, see stuff. Because that was something that I really thought about, was if someone was coming from this direction, what would they see? If they were coming from this direction, what would they see? I tried to, and I think I did a good job, make it so that no matter which direction you were coming from towards my store, you would see my big ticket items, or not my big ticket. So my big things that I knew would draw the crowds was my key rings, my petite pouches, and bags. So I needed those 3 to show no matter what direction you were coming from. And I knew I had 2 directions. So I wanted to make sure that you could see it from every single direction. So yeah. Okay. Well, I think, does anyone have any questions? I'll stick here for a couple more seconds and see if you guys have questions before I disappear, because otherwise I will have to go and fully decide on hair color. Actually, I need to drive to my hairdresser too. I don't know, my hairdresser's an hour drive away. It's my own fault. She used to be close, and now she's an hour away, but I love her too much to change. So yeah, but I I think no one's asking anything else, so I'll start disappearing. But thank you guys for staying along. I can't believe you guys stayed with me. It always baffles me that people will sit and watch me talk, but not just watch me talk for 2.5 hours. Like, so thank you. And I know I go off on tangents, so thank you for sticking with me when I did. And I will try and do more lives. I feel like now that Supernova's over, I feel like I've got my life back. So I do want to make it more regular again. I do want to come on and talk some more, do some more live sewing again sometimes with you guys as well. So if there's something that you want me to talk about, if there's some patterns that you want me to do, let me know. I will try to do it as much as I can. I know someone wanted me to talk about bag making with my vintage. I will do that soon. I'm not happy with her at the moment. She's being a bit mean to me. It's probably because I've not oiled her enough, but we'll get there. Anyway, so it's Sam from Made by Erilyn. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And thank you for sticking around with me, you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Now I have to work out how to end this stream.